Are you listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other platform where you can leave a rate or review? Do you like what we're doing? If the answer to all of that is yes, please consider quickly giving us a 5-star rate. And if you wouldn't mind leaving us a nice review, we greatly appreciate that as well. Okay, let's do this.
Hello, welcome to the Ghosts of Harrenhal. My name's Simon.
And I'm Mackelly.
Thank you for joining us for episode 342 of our chapter-by-chapter book review of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Today we'll be discussing chapter 70 of A Dance with Dragons, which is The Queen's Hand.
And as always, we're going to chat about the chapter and try not to spoil any future plot points for you. Unless, of course, you have a Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer tier that includes spoilers. Well, then if you listen to that spoiler episode, we are going to spoil things for you. But regardless, hopefully we'll provide you some entertainment along the way.
We'll summarise what happened, discuss our thoughts on it, provide some useful background, compare it to the television show, indulge in a little pedantry, and cover some relevant news and listener correspondence. Be sure to check out the show notes. They'll provide some additional information about the characters and geography of this chapter. How are you, Mackelly?
I'm doing fine. It's a beautiful day out there. I haven't gotten to enjoy it much yet, but my Pittsburgh Penguins have been eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs for so long, I almost forgot that they qualified in the first place. Mm-hmm. You, on the other hand, probably are a little more tense than I am.
Tonight is game 1 of the Stanley Cup final, and my Carolina Hurricanes are in it, and it's very exciting.
Yes, yes, it is.
I don't know who the betting has them as slight favourites, but
that makes sense.
Interestingly, the TNT crew, 3 of the 5 went for Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Which is strange because they had watched the 5 games of the Carolina series and concluded there was a better team out there somewhere, which seemed a bit harsh, because to me they looked really good. But I'm not wagering anything on it. I hope they pull through because I think they've been a really good team for a long time, and it would deserve to win. And I think it would be particularly fun for Jordan Staal to win the Stanley Cup, as he did for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
To win it again for the Carolina Hurricanes. This bookending his career with 2 Stanley Cup wins.
He was a teenager when he won with the Penguins, and
if he wins, it will be the longest gap between Stanley Cup wins of any human.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
17 seasons. And when I heard that, I was so flabbergasted, because I remember the Penguins winning the Stanley Cup distinctly, and it was 8 years ago maybe, but apparently it was 17 years ago, which is astonishing.
Well, that one, they did win back-to-back in 16 and 17, which is only 9 and 10 years ago, respectively.
But you see, the one that really stuck in my mind was the Jordan Staal one, because I remember telling you at the time, I thought he was the MVP of Game 7. He played terrific in Game 7. Nobody agrees with me, but I thought he was outstanding. I didn't know he was going to become a Carolina Hurricane at the time.
His brother was a Carolina Hurricane at the time.
He was. I believe he's just overtaken him for games played or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Boy, what a run the Carolina Hurricanes have had with Staal brothers.
Yeah. I think there've been some fascinating stats. Well, the most fascinating thing that happened, I don't know if you probably didn't see the end of the Eastern Conference, but the Canes have a player called Keandre Miller, who he's 6'5", and he is an Adonis. The guy is absolutely magnificent. Yeah, I mean, the thought of being in a speedy contact sport with that guy is just genuinely terrifying.
Terrifying, right?
But when they won, after the celebrations and the crowd had all gone home and the players had showered, he came back out to the bench with his baby. And this was in May, and the baby was born in May, so it's a small baby.
I'd say, yeah,
and
pretty fresh.
He's holding it with all of the effort that I would put into holding like an orange. I mean, the guy just like it was nothing in his arms, and he sits on the bench and he talks to the baby, and there's nobody around him, so it's just a camera that hasn't yet been turned off because it's like an hour after the thing.
Yeah,
and then the camera zooms in. And he's crying tears onto the baby. I'm like, I was undone. I was like, that's it. That's too much.
And then the director called, cut. Like, whose kid is this
we
anyway?
From a different angle. We're not catching the tears on your cheeks.
That's really sweet. That is really sweet.
Yeah, I mean, because he was a brand new dad, and like, you know, he's had a career, and now he's in the Stanley Cup final. I could see why the emotions were bubbling up.
Yeah, for sure.
So the reason the word penguin is in the notes for what we should talk about has nothing to do with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Just so you know.
I figured it didn't, but I didn't know why it was there. So
my family are watching the show called Penguin with Colin Farrell.
Great show! That is a really great show.
It is a good show, man. It really is a good show. But we're on. I think we're on
that's the kind of show that when you accidentally watch the season over again, you'll realize it real quick.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because it will actually stick, that one. Yeah, the morning show, Teflon. But this one. But we're on the last episode. I think there's 8 episodes. We're on the last episode. And Lucas and I have been arguing since the get-go about whether or not I had seen the movie that preceded this show.
Oh,
okay. And he was adamant that I saw it. And he even specifically knew. He said, you saw it on an airplane to England. I was sitting next to you and you watched that movie. And I said, I have never seen that movie. I've never seen Robert Pattinson, whatever his name is, as Batman. I've never seen Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I have not seen that movie. And so finally, after episode 7, Carson went to bed, so we couldn't watch the last episode because we were waiting for her. But he said, all right, I'm going to show you. And so we started watching this movie, and doubts began to creep in. But seriously, they were just sort of like nagging doubts, but there was nothing. There was nothing in this movie that made me think I'd seen it. I was like, no, I have not seen this movie. I'd seen the poster. I knew who was going to be in it, you know.
Right, sure, okay.
But nothing. We got an hour and 20 minutes in, and I was like, oh my God, I've seen this movie. So Lucas is lording it over me ever since. And Carson is particularly delighted that this story is being told the week after the story about the morning show.
Apparently Lucas is the only one who's got a memory you can trust in that.
Man, I can't believe he remembered that. Because, I mean, seriously, I don't remember watching it.
Oh, that is good stuff. And I wonder if we started to replay the episode that you and Jenny and I did, if you would be like, wait a second.
No.
We did do an episode.
Well, I mean, theoretically, I believe that it happened, but I'm sure none of it would come back to me.
Yeah, well, yeah.
My other story from this week is one which those of a queasy disposition might not want to listen to, just so you know. Do you know what kimchi is?
I've heard the name, but
kimchi. I think it's Korean, and it's just pickled vegetables. Basically, it's sort of like that's what it is, and it's a big part of sort of Korean food. And I'm not big on pickly things. I don't particularly like the taste of pickles. It's not my thing.
Me either.
Really. Mm-hmm. So not particularly interested. But Carson told me that for health one should eat more fermented foods. I suggested I could increase my beer intake, which she did not think that was good for my health.
No, that's not the option she was thinking of.
But we were at an event, with like stalls, people selling things, and there was a Korean lady, and she was selling homemade kimchi. And so we went over there, and she was giving out samples. But the samples were sandwiches of kimchi. And I'm going to let you take a guess what was on this sandwich. I'll give you a clue. There's just one other ingredient. It was bread, kimchi, something, and bread. What's the something?
Bread, kimchi, something, cheese? Probably not cheese.
Cheese, yeah, that could work, right? I mean, that would be all right. It's sort of like a pickle with cheese. Yeah, I could see that, yeah.
I don't know.
The answer to the question is peanut butter.
What? Do they go together?
And I was like, there's no way. I mean, I had to try it once I saw it. I was like, there's no way. Absolutely delicious. Remarkably delicious. Better than kimchi, better than peanut butter. It was like a revelation. We bought
the whole
kimchi.
Is better than the sum of the parts.
We bought peanut butter, and I had it for breakfast the last 2 days. A toasted bagel with kimchi and peanut butter, and it's so good. But the kimchi stinks to high heaven. I mean, so it is kind of repulsive, but at the same time, that's a remarkable taste.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I always find it fascinating when two foods you don't think go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, except I don't like that at all. I would never have that.
That's what I had for lunch today.
Oh, not my thing.
I think I had 3 last week for lunch.
Yeah, my God. I mean, like when she said what it was, I was like, "Are you sure? Should we be eating this? Is this a dare? Is there a hidden camera?" All right, well, let's get down to business. How did we leave Barristan Selmy? Well, last we saw of Sir Barristan, he was recommended to Prince Quentyn Martell that he leave Meereen and go home, and since then he'd been plotting with Skahaz to arrest Hizdahr for treason for attempting to poison the Queen. His attempted arrest of the king is interrupted by cries that the dragons are loose. Mackelly, why don't we give the summary of this one?
All right. Well, Sir Barristan Selmy watches as the sun begins to rise over Meereen. No dragons are visible, the rain driving them into their lairs, but he can see the smoldering ruins of the Pyramid of Haskar and the orange glow atop the Pyramid of Yerizan, I will go with, where Rhaegal has made his lair. Barristan scans the horizon every morning for a sign of the Queen's return. His thoughts are disrupted by the death rattle of the prince inside.
You can just say Haskar for every name that isn't,
Yeah.
If it isn't Lorik, then it's Haskar.
Right.
Barristan comes inside the Queen's apartments, where he had Prince Quentyn Martell laid in the Queen's bed after the disaster in the Dragon Pit. Barristan felt it only fitting, since the boy had come halfway across the world to reach this bed. Miss Andy had been ever present since the prince was placed in her care. Day and night she tended to his needs, sleeping on the chair next to him. Barristan sent for the Blue Graces 4 times, but none had appeared. Barristan wonders if the last of them has been carried away by the Pale Mare.
Miss Sandy tells Barristan that the prince is finally at peace. See how he smiles? Barristan can't tell, as the boy has no lips. It would have been a kinder fate if the dragons had eaten him. His bones must be sent home, but Barristan doesn't have the heart to burn the body. He dismisses Miss Sandy and stares at the boy's badly burned body. Barristan can't help but think the boy should have stayed in Dorne. Not everyone is meant to dance with dragons.
Selmy wonders about the fate of his queen. Does her body lay somewhere on the Dothraki Sea? He forces that thought out of his head. She is not dead. She will return. She was riding that dragon. Yet doubts creep back in. She was burning, and hundreds saw her fall. Skahaz arrives at daybreak. He comments that the fool is dead. News apparently spreads quickly in the pyramid. Barristan asks for news of the Green Grace.
There's no report about the Green Grace, so then Barristan asks for the butcher's tally from the previous night and is shocked to hear it at 29. The Sons of the Harpy have resumed and quickly escalated their murders since King Hizdahr's arrest. Skahaz says don't look so surprised. The Harpy wants Hizdahr free, so he sends his sons into the streets. There are also 200 highborn congregated outside the pyramid, clamoring for an audience. The Unsullied man the city walls, prepared for an assault from the Yunkai.
The pair argue over the fate of the 100 hostage highborn children, as they have done 100 times before. Selmy will not harm them. With that, the pair descend to meet the awaiting council ruling in the Queen's absence. The council is primarily military leaders, along with Romo of the Queen's Khalasar and Hizdahr's pit fighters. Last to arrive is strong Belwas, looking a lot less strong than before. He has survived the poisoning, but it's taken its toll. Belwas looks thinner, unsteady and flabby, but Barristan is glad to see a friendly face.
They discuss the dead prince and his 2 imprisoned companions. Most feel the 2 Dornishmen can share a gibbet for freeing the dragons. Barristan explains that 3 fighting pits have been filled with various types of animals. The dragons seem to be content with feeding on them and not humans. So far, the only Meereenese killed since the dragons escaped were the fools who tried to dislodge Rhaegal from his lair atop the Pyramid of Haskar.
Actually Haskar, not just...
Yeah, I actually was this time. Not the generic Haskar.
Barristan explains that the Green Grace has not returned from her attempt to arrange a return of the hostages from the Yunkaiish camp. She is to offer the Yunkai the hostages' weight in gold for their return. Skahaz thinks the Green Grace's attempts are pointless. She very well might be conspiring with the Yunkai. Barristan says that the point is to, at minimum, create a division between the sellswords and the Yunkaiish lords. The lords would certainly reject the offer, but the sellswords would surely want that money.
We'll be right back.
Hello, friends. Are you ready to make some unforgettable memories? Well, if so, consider the Marriott Bonvoy program. Discover the perfect destination for your summer getaway and unlock exclusive deals on luxurious accommodations. With our affiliate partnership, you'll enjoy unbeatable savings and a seamless booking experience. Don't let summer slip away. Visit Marriott Bonvoy today and make this vacation season one for the books. Use our Ghosts of Harrenhal affiliate page to check it all out and buy Bonvoy points or give some as a gift. The link to our page is in the show notes. When asked how Barristan will respond when the Green Grace returns with the offer rejected, he responds quietly, "Fire and blood." He's not called Barristan the Bold for nothing. He's stored wood atop this pyramid, covered from sight in the elements. When the fire is lit, the forces these men command are to pour out of the city and smash the Yunkai host. With that, Barristan has battle maps passed out. Over the next several hours, the men discuss and debate strategy.
By the end, only one question remains. Would the dragons fight on their behalf? There is no amount of money the Yunkai could pay the sellswords to face Dragonfire. Barristan thinks to himself that he is sure the dragons will be drawn to the fighting, but doubts that they will discriminate between friend and foe. Selmy dismisses the men and makes for the dungeons.
He meets alone with Archibald Ironwood and Garrus Drinkwater. Arch only stares at his burned hands when the news of Quentyn's death is delivered. Drink says that it's the Queen's fault. He offered her love and she laughed at him and went off to screw her sellsword. Barristan draws a line at disparaging his queen. He reminds Drink that Quentyn came too late and without swords. But the fiasco with the dragon pit was nothing short of treason.
Drink says that it was for love. Barristan says it was for duty, honour and glory. Quentyn wanted the dragons, not Daenerys. When Drink tries to further the argument, Arch cuts him off. None of it matters now. He asks Selmy what will happen to them. Barristan says they are to be hanged, but Arch realises that if that were the case, Selmy would not be here. Selmy says he will send them home on a ship with Quentyn's bones, if they agree to a plan.
Barristan asks them to tell him what Quentyn's plan was. Arch explains about the agreement with the Tattered Prince, how Quentyn planned to control the dragons using his Targaryen blood, but that it all became immediately clear it wasn't going to work once they got into the dragon pit. He says that when Quentyn was burned, the Windblown fled. Barristan guesses that the Tattered Prince wanted Pentos as payment. He tells them he'll free the imprisoned Westerosi Windblown and send these two with them back to the Tattered Prince. They will then strike a deal with the Tattered Prince to free the hostages. Barristan will pay the price of Pentos.
Arch agrees for the both of them, and Barristan leaves. He is watching Viserion fly in the distance and fretting over his decisions when the Green Grace arrives. Selmy considers her a faithful friend to Daenerys and offers her a spot on the Queen's Council. She advises that he release Hisdar. Only he can stop the Sons of the Harpy and maintain the peace with the Yunkai. He is innocent of trying to poison Dany. The gods told her so.
Selmy asks of the Yunkai response to his ransom proposal for the hostages. They rejected it. They want Hisdar released and the dragons killed, and the Green Grace agrees with them. The dragons are monsters. Even their queen was killed by the Black One. Barristan tries to argue, but Skahaz bursts in with news. The Yunkai have begun firing all 6 trebuchets. A part of Barristan is relieved they chose war. He understands war. However, he's caught off guard when the Green Grace says it's not rocks they hurl at the city, but corpses.
Yeah, so
okay.
I'll apologise for the Quentyn chapter where we spent a lot of time discussing what Quentyn would do if he survived, because he immediately died.
Yeah.
It was a complete waste of time.
Yeah, it just is a horrible fate for Quentyn, and like we discussed at the time, a kind of cruel storyline. He struggles to get to Meereen, losing companions along the way. He's immediately rebuffed and rejected by Dany, and then dies horribly. And as we talked about, it feels almost pointless, yet the book title is used here on him when Barristan says, looking at his dead body, that Quentyn should have stayed in Dorne or should have stayed a frog, that not all men are meant to dance with dragons. Mm-hmm. And, that's That's the title of. I don't know that Dance with Dragons has been used any other time in this book that I can
That's
think
an interesting
of.
question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I don't know. There was an interesting conversation on the Discord community today where Fritz had an idea that possibly Quentyn's story in this book, because we debated it a lot last Quentyn chapter, what was the point of putting this storyline in here? His first thought was to give the reader more insight into like the boots on the ground with the sellswords here in the Yunkai camp.
It certainly did that,
and get us access to the tattered prince and the Dornish perspective. He was saying this is so convoluted and complicated. It's really hard to get all the information across through POVs. It would be easier if it were
non-POV.
Yeah, non-POV type perspective. But his main takeaway was that Quentyn's purpose was to show how dangerous these dragons truly are, so that if a future character were to try the same thing and succeed, we would understand the accomplishment that the character had. That the character had, and we would have seen how horribly it could go if it doesn't work out.
That's reasonable. I mean, I was going to discount the first half of it by saying you could have got inside the Yunkai through Tyrion and Jorah Mormont,
right,
and also through Dario. Perhaps you could get another perspective. They would both have been a little bit late in the book for it, but you could have got in there with those.
Yeah.
But the second half of it is indisputable. If you just sent some no-name character in there, it wouldn't have meant as much, like, oh yeah, okay, idiot goes in with the dragons and gets burned.
Yeah, like
but
Ted.
This is someone who had a legitimate reason to think that they might bow to his blood.
And a reason that others might try to do the same thing. Yeah. Like Brown Ben Plum, possibly, who has Targaryen blood. Now,
I'm thinking Brown Ben Plum is less likely to do it now.
That is true. Now, Jenny, she was saying on the I think it was the spoiler channel on our Discord community, that she was thinking maybe this was the whole Quentyn storyline was because of the impact it will have on Sunspear, mostly Doran, his father's reaction to Fagon or Aegon or Young Griff, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, I kind of skimmed that, but I didn't quite understand why it would have an impact on his impression of Aegon.
Well, I think first he'd have to find out, right? That would be tricky.
Well, about both things, about Aegon's existence and Quentyn's death. Yeah?
Aegon's existence should be easier because he's just there in the Stormlands.
Announcing himself.
Yes, right.
Loudly.
Quentyn's will require likely Arch and Drink to make it back to Sunspear with Quentyn's bones. And if they do, now we've got Gareth, who's blaming Dany. Maybe over time he will see that, Daenerys did what she thought was best. But Arch saw things a lot more clearly, so maybe he will have a more level-headed explanation. But I think it comes down to will because Doran knows that his son is dead, embrace Aegon and pledge Dorne to Aegon. Might it have been more complicated if he didn't know that?
Well, yes.
Quentyn was dead.
That's a good point. That is all a very good point.
But it's going to take a long while for the bones and the two other Dornishmen to make it all the way back to Sunspear. And I mean, maybe Doran would reject Dany if she showed up and he felt like she didn't give her blame. So, yes, but it's a lot harder to reject her if she has 3 full-grown dragons,
Fundamentally.
Yes. Now Dorne did hold out. They did hold out much, much longer than any of the other kingdoms. So,
So you thinking that Doran might put forward Arianne as a prospective wife for Aegon.
Sure.
But they're quite close relatives. It's almost Targaryen-like, right? I mean, she would be
first cousin.
His first cousin, right? Yeah.
Right. Which is, I mean, Joanna and Tywin Lannister are first cousins. So.
Yeah. It's not as bad as quite a lot of what goes on around here.
Right.
Anyway, back to the story. We've digressed a little.
A little, yeah.
Back at the top of the chapter, can I just say Miss Sandy is one of the sweetest characters, and I wish her only well.
She's a saint. She's really a saint.
Yeah.
If she stayed up. We hit on this a little bit in the summary, but she stayed up with Quentyn day and night. The other kids couldn't even look at Quentyn, and she was his constant companion.
Yeah.
But she's been through a lot more ordeals than these highborn kids probably have. I don't want to speak in general terms. I don't know what any of these kids have been through, but I know she's been through a lot. So
right, for sure. Yeah. I mean, just her sunny disposition as well. Like when Quentyn dies, she's like, "Oh, he's at peace, and look at him, he's smiling." I mean, the rictus of no lips, he was smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
This is her take on life, I guess.
She's one of those heartwarming characters, along with, well, everyone knows we have a soft spot for poor Admiral Grolio, as that's his official name now. Brienne, Penny, Maester Aemon. Miss Sandy is right up there. Her loyalty, her compassion, caringness, selflessness, and she's incredibly wise for an 11-year-old, as Barristan points out in this chapter.
I thought you were going to mention Gilly then, actually.
Oh,
and
yes,
that just reminds me, actually. I don't know if you know, you should read up about what's happened to the actress who played Gilly. It's very fascinating.
Really?
She's had a fascinating life.
Okay, I will do that.
Not all nice, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A little Gilly-like, to be honest.
Oh, all right. I will. I will absolutely do that. Actually.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
This episode is sponsored by Audible. To get a free audiobook, or 2 if you're an Amazon Prime member, go to our exclusive URL, audibletrial.com/ghostsharrenhal. You can find the link in our show notes.
Do you the Blue Graces didn't come to help? What is the function of the Blue Graces? Are they
They're the
nurses?
healers.
They're the healers.
Yes.
They didn't come. Do you think Barristan's speculation is correct that they've all succumbed to the Pale Mare, or do you think they were like, we're not bothering with the foreigner, we've got enough things going on here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know for sure. I do think many of the Blue Graces. I think one of the Dany POVs, she noticed that there were less Blue Graces than there had been, possibly. I hope I'm not making that up. So I wouldn't be surprised to learn that at least if they haven't all been carried away by the Pale Mare,
the remaining ones are awfully busy.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's been a major escalation in the violence from the Sons of the Harpy since the arrest of Hisdar. 3 dead on the first night, 9 dead on the second night, and as we mentioned, the book calls it the Butcher's Tally.
Yeah,
was 29 on the third night, which is honestly, why are you going out at this point? I mean, are you crazy? Bar the doors.
Right. Yeah, it's getting harder for Hisdar to deny any association with the Sons of the Harpy.
Right. I mean, one should say that correlation is not causation. You know, I mean, like, it could be that they react to what he's doing, you know, to his plight without his involvement.
Right. But on his behalf, even though...
On his behalf.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of smoke pointing to a fire around him being the Harpy or the chief son of the Harpy.
Yeah. And if it continues to escalate, I mean, 3, 9, 29, if we've got 50 by the next night, then it's a lot of pressure to cave and release Hisdar. Or it could lead to absolutely open war within the city.
Yeah, true.
And the
fact, I wonder if the Yunkai knew that they might ease off and not actually go to war. Let the powder keg that's fermenting in Marine take care of itself, rather than... giving them the excuse to rally around and fight as en masse, you know.
Yeah, similar to what's happening in Winterfell between the Freys and the Manderleys and all the infighting that's happening there. Mm-hmm. But the Volantene fleet is on the way. So despite the Pale Mare doing damage outside of the camp, outside of the city, they can't just let the Yunkai forces fall apart, outside. So something's got to give one way or the other.
I hear you. Yep. So the council that's running the city in Daenerys' absence is quite sizable. The membership includes Skahaz, the Green Grace, who wasn't present because she was out on this diplomatic mission to the
and kind of rejected the offer when Barristan offered it to her.
That's true. Yes. Well, maybe it felt like she knew what was coming from the Yunkai, so maybe she was like,
yeah.
Whatever I say here doesn't make any difference.
Right.
Look to the skies. Grey Worm representing the Unsullied. Marcellin of the Mother's Men, who are one of the freed companies within Meereen.
Simon Stripeback is the captain of the Free Brothers, who are also a group of freedmen. Then Tal Turak of the Stalwart Shields, again another group of freedmen. And then we get Jokun and the Widower, who are the acting leaders of the Stormcrows, while their Captain Daario is a hostage.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. I hadn't thought about the fact that they're representing Daario because he's missing, yes. And Roma of the Khalasar, who gets referred to as the Jakar Ran, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I looked it up a little bit, and it only ever refers to this guy. And I was like, what?
In a Khalasar, the Jakar Ran are the men who go around after a battle and kill the injured on the battlefield.
Have a hobby.
Yeah, everyone's got to play their part, and that's his role. So,
4 of Hizdar's pit fighters: Gorgo the Giant, Belakwo Bonebreaker, Cameron of the Count, and the Spotted Cat. Now, you've put a note here, which I think is extremely good that you put it here, because as soon as I read this, I was like, wow, that's a surprising number of Hizdar loyalists have been added to this council. But your note says, and I will let you take it because it was your note,
that they were included, much against Skahaz's advice, because they once helped Dany win the city, and that shouldn't be forgotten. And that they do have proven loyalty to Hizdar most recently, but before Hizdar, they were loyal to Dany. So
right.
I felt they should be included.
Just because he elevated them after Dany's disappearance doesn't mean they weren't loyal to Dany to begin with. You know, they were, and they could still be again if Dany shows back up.
Right.
And then the last member is Strong Belwas, who it was easy to forget, but Strong Belwas and Barristan Selmy were companions for an awfully long time. They travelled across Essos together, so they are actually old friends, if you will.
Yeah, it is easy to forget that's their
There's a real
story.
connection.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I'd say that the Seven Kingdoms might have it right. There's something to be said for a small council. Feels like there's going to be a lot of discussion to get any decisions made in a group this large.
It is a rather large council. It's certainly not Cersei's smallest council.
No.
But Belwas survived the poisoning. Obviously, he's here. Last we heard, he was right on death's door. But he's weak and thin. He's lost 2 stone. That would be... Yeah,
28 pounds or like 17 kilos.
Okay. So he's lost nearly 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he's a big guy. I was expecting it to be more than that, quite honestly. The way they're describing
Their stones might be bigger than my stones. Actually, I'm going to do my math again. Let's say 14 kilos.
Right. Yeah, and he's become kind of tentative and slow moving, the Barristan tells us in his mind.
I will say that one thing that sort of is a repeated motif in this book is advisors who can't read a room.
Yeah.
When Skahaz says to Barristan Selmy, referring to Quentyn's death, the fool is dead, when Barristan Selmy is just coming from the dead prince's bedside.
Yes.
It just feels like, dude, that's not the way to his heart. And then following that up with, let's kill the children.
Right. and that's about the same time that Barristan thinks, I really don't want to do this job as Queen's Hand, but I'm certainly not going to let that guy do it.
That guy. Actually, but I had a thought, as I was writing that, I had a thought about how you might use the children. I wonder if there is an alternative. Choose one or two of the children at random and announce that they will be executed unless the Sons of the Harpy activity stops, unless the Butcher's tally is 0 tomorrow, right?
Right.
And if it doesn't, and I would expect them to call his bluff because he's bluffing, let's be honest, right. He parades those two children out before their families and offers them one last chance. Send a member of the family to die in the place of the children, and the children will be spared.
Okay.
And then execute the adults.
Yeah. I don't know what happens if nobody steps forward, because I don't think Barristan's going through with that plan. But he is Barristan the Bold, so maybe...
Barristan says, okay, I will pick them. You and you.
Yes. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep those children. Choose a different 2 children for the next night and say, same thing happens.
Right. Yeah.
And you keep all 100 children. You keep them safe. You give them nightmares, probably, by saying all this in front of them. But
it's true. You'd have to tell them ahead of time, but you got to keep a stone face. Do not.
Or maybe you say to them, "Look, I'm really being horrible to you here, but at least I'm not Skahaz."
Right? Yeah. Be thankful that he's not the one in charge.
It might give them pause. If you know, it might stop their activities, or at least curtail it a little bit.
Yeah, I think that is a possible positive. Well, not necessarily. Nothing in this situation is positive,
but using the leverage that they give you.
Yes, right.
Without selling your soul completely.
Right. Well said.
Barristan sent the Green Grace to advocate for the city. A good choice. Doesn't feel like it's necessarily a good choice.
Yeah.
Her friends and Hizdar's relations were amongst the hostages sent to the Yunkai, but they were the ones that were freed. She now has no skin in the game out there.
No motivation aside from maintaining a peace, because these hostages are not even are they not her people? They're not even Myronese. Not one of them are Myronese, and one of them has been putting horns on her hand-picked king.
True enough.
So. Now the Green Grace told Barristan that all the nobles and captains were present when she gave the terms that Barristan wanted her to give. It was actually Missandei's idea, which was all of the each hostage's weight in gold was the ransom offer. But we don't know whether she actually waited till everybody was there.
Right. Or if she even said it.
Yeah.
A certain weight in gold.
Yeah.
Quite small weight in gold, just to be clear.
It's not Missandei's weight in gold, thankfully.
But at first when I heard it, I thought, that's ridiculous. I mean, I know that the one thing that Daenerys within Meereen has got a surplus of is riches, and she lacks just about everything else. So throwing away gold isn't the end of the world, but it seemed way too much. But then as the plan got explained that it was to try and put a wedge between the sellswords and the Yunkai-ish nobility, it actually is quite clever. It actually does feel like it would work. But then sending someone who might not deliver the message as intended just seems like a very strange choice.
Yeah. We'll get to her when she meets with Barristan, but she's tough to put a pin in, it's tough to figure out where her loyalties lie. But that was all Missandei's idea. The whole, let's offer them money. They're going to reject it, but they're going to reject it in front of the sellsword captains who are going to want it. And that's going to create division and discontent between the two groups.
Those sellsword captains are going to be feeding Dario like there's no tomorrow.
Right. They're going to... I wonder if Grolio was a big old guy, and they're like, we should have...
Why? Why did we kill Grolio? So Barristan's plan to go on the offensive, it might just work, because we know that the besiegers are in some chaos with the Pale Mare and losing slaves, and also, these sellsword companies are not bound fast to them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And if this particular plan has got out, then even less will they be bound to them. But it is a safe bet that if the dragons are drawn to this fight, they won't discriminate. I mean, how could they? Right. It's hard for me to keep track of who's fighting for which side.
Wait, which one's Yunkai and which one is...
Right, yeah. First of all, the names, I got no idea. Second of all, the number of people who've switched sides, I'm like, I've got no clue who to burn.
And if there's any doubts about whether the dragons would be able to tell friend from foe, Quentyn's fate should put that to rest. Because he had Targaryen blood, and he was seen by both dragons with Daenerys, and Rhaegal did not care when it came down to it. So, yeah. So this is where Barristan has a plan. If and when they reject it, he hopes they won't. He expects that they will. He has a beacon ready at the top of the Great Pyramid here, hidden under shelter so that no one can see it and so that the wood won't get wet. And if it comes to it, he's going to light that beacon, light that wood, and that's a signal for everyone here at this table, all of their forces to attack. And this is where the Dornish/Windblown plan comes in, because they need to save the hostages before the attack. Now, we'll get to what that plan is here in a minute. But the problem is that at the end of this chapter, the Yunkai they initiate the war. So is there going to be time for the Windblown for them to rescue the hostages before the Myronese force has to ride out and attack?
Yeah, I mean, there is an interpretation of those bodies as being the hostages you just refused to return.
That is true. Skahaz said all 6 trebuchets are firing, and there's only 3 hostages. But 3 of the 6 could have fired the hostages.
Or be particularly gruesome if each was firing half a hostage.
Oh, yeah, there's a way. Certainly a way for that, yes.
3 goes into 6, I'm just saying. Mathematically, this works.
Yeah. We saw Grolio was not whole when he was presented to Hisdar.
My assumption was that they were Pale Mare victims.
Me too.
They were trying to sort of share a little bit of the joy, but...
Right. But Barristan made some new knights. I think it was I don't know if you've listened to it yet, the chapter that Jenny and I did together.
I have listened now. Now, finally.
Well, in that chapter, Barristan had thought about making some of these squires knights, the ones he thought were ready. Then he changed his mind because he thought, well, what I'm about to do, I could either end up dead or bringing shame upon myself. And if I bring shame upon myself, I'm going to bring shame upon my newly made knights. So he didn't. But now he didn't have any of those negative outcomes. So he knighted the Red Lamb and a young man named Tum. At least those 2. We don't know if he's knighted any of the other 2, but he brought those 2 newly made knights with him to meet with Arch and Drink. And the Red Lamb, we had discussed, Jenny and I, about how he's a bit out of the norm for the Lazarene because he's really vicious and fights with just such fury, and they're such peaceful people that it doesn't really fit with the traditional thinking.
I'm quite a peaceful guy myself, but if I was Lazarene, I'd be pretty angry about life.
They have a lot to be. They've got a lot of pent up aggression, I'm sure.
Eventually, one of them was going to rage.
Right.
So by meeting with Arch and Drink, he gets we get filled in on what happened immediate aftermath of Rhaegal burning Quentyn. Arch tried to put the fire out, so he got burned doing that. He has burned hands from trying to save Quent.
Yeah, and they didn't, and they tell Barristan here that the Windblown were with them, and they fled before the Brazen Beasts arrived. They did not, apparently, because most in the council want these two killed for loosing the dragons, they don't seem to know about the Windblown's role. So I guess it's good that Arch and Drink held their tongue for this upcoming deal with Barristan, that they didn't snitch on the Windblown and get them arrested or in trouble or whatever.
True enough, but I mean, like, the Windblown have blown with the wind so many times. You just got to forgive their most recent crimes and hope that the future works out for you.
Yeah. So one of the bits, though, that they divulge is the plan had they been successful. Because I had issue the whole time with what was your plan? The plan made very little sense to me to begin with. And right. The extra bit of info we get here does not help me feel any more confident that they knew what they were doing. Because I think it was Rags, which is one of Tatter's lieutenants, had gotten them a big ship to carry off both dragons. And that possibly Quentyn was going to ride off on one if he could. But that made me think, first of all, you sure you want to put two captive dragons on a wooden ship and sail them? I'm not sure that's a great plan. But is that true? Was there no real intention to find Dany? Were they truly just trying to steal the dragons?
Well, maybe, yeah. I hadn't really thought about that, but maybe the ship was the backup plan if he couldn't ride it but could capture it.
Right.
If he could ride it, then go look for Dany first would
yes,
be my idea. But if he can't ride it, then just put him in a box, douse it with a lot of water, and put it on board right. the wooden ship and hope for the best.
Yeah, what do you do with it then if you can't ride? I guess they would have taken the ship somewhere where he could have worked on trying to control one of them. I guess the whole plan still.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I mean, you just, if it doesn't burn you to death, there's hope, right? So maybe you could forge a bond over time.
Yeah, over time, maybe.
Yeah.
But then
bring it back to Dawn and find someone with a bit more Targaryen blood,
right.
you know.
Deliver it to Aegon.
Right. I mean, that's a great test for Aegon. Hey, why don't you saunter over there and play with one of those dragons?
Go on, Aegon Targaryen. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
But Archibald,
you look a little peaky.
Archibald also mentions the crossbow bolt that angered the dragons. He said they weren't in a good mood to begin with, but then, damn Ted, firing that crossbow bolt is what really set them off. And we had discussed whether Rhaegal attacked in retaliation for Viserion being hit by that crossbow bolt. Arch seems to think that there might be something there.
Oh, yeah.
There might be smoke to that fire, if you will.
Drink lashes out when he learns of Quentyn's death, but Arch is kind of like more subdued, more thoughtful, shows some spine and resolve and maturity, which is kind of not exactly, well, I don't know, maybe I've just underestimated him. I do think actually that these two could become interesting characters. You know, they're cut loose a little bit now. Where's their story headed? You make a reasonable point that send them home with news and bones of this outcome. And, you know, if Barristan sends them home, you'd say, can you put a positive slant on this, please, and not blame Daenerys, because that will hurt her chances?
Right. You're going to need
her. It really wasn't her fault.
Yeah. Barristan says, I know that Doran Martell plans to go to war with the Iron Throne. Don't deny it. He's not the type of person that does something without the type of person to call his spears without a plan. So he is aware that there is this thought that the Martells want to challenge the Iron Throne. If that's the case, then they probably need Daenerys, and her dragons certainly would help. So there would be incentive not to go bashing Dany.
Yeah, but one thing I'll say to that, everything you said is correct. With the exception of Dany, everyone else is proving that the dragons are just more trouble than they're worth, really. I mean, they're...
So far, yeah, it's true.
Difficult to deal with, and you can't control them, and...
Yeah.
I mean, basically, they're running amok in the city. Not running amok, because basically, infinite food has been laid out. And can it, just as someone who doesn't eat meat, can I just mention how awful it must be for those farm animals to just live in a bowl, and occasionally for a dragon to swoop in and take away some of your brothers, and then basically then you get some more hay to fatten you up for when the dragon comes back.
That's true.
It's pretty rough.
That is. But Drink blames Dany. And we have discussed there's a little bit of merit there with the line that has been confusing us about her saying the dragon has 3 heads. My marriage does not need to be the end of your hope. Now, I don't know that Drink knows that. I think Drink is just talking about how she rejected him and laughed at him and ran to her sellsword. And he claims that Quentyn loved Dany. And Barristan hits the nail on the head with his response. He says, he did not love Dany. Quentyn did it for Dorne. He did it for duty, for honor, and for thirst of glory. And we were in Quentyn's head. And that's pretty much spot on. Quentyn's POV. He was so scared, but he continued forward in that chapter for all 3 of those things. The primary driver being his duty to his father. The same with honor. He was terrified of the mock and ridicule and disappointment that he would face if he came home empty-handed. And he was talking about being remembered and of the songs that will be sung about him if he tamed a dragon and returned with Daenerys. So, Barristan was exactly right. Those were more the motivations than his love of Daenerys.
I never quite felt that I understood the deal that Barristan was striking with Drink and Arch. I mean, as you say, it's confused even more by the fact that the Yunkai went on the offensive at the end of the story, but at the end of the chapter. But he plans to attack the Yunkai, and he's sending these guys out to try and free the hostages somehow, and then for the Windblown to turn the tables at the time of this attack. But as you say. But a lot of that was unstated.
Right. Yeah.
That's just sort of speculation of what they were supposed to do. But I guess we'll never have to find out now because the war has started. But it does feel like it could be the pivotal moment is convincing the Windblown to change sides.
Yes.
Still.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, so we see at the end of the council meeting, Grey Worm goes up to Barristan and says, I know when you start the attack that they're going to kill the hostages. He's referring, or he's concerned about Hero, his second in command.
Yeah.
And Barristan's response is, I will do everything I can to prevent that. I have a notion, and leaves it at that. Now we see what this notion was. It was a reference to this plan here to release. So the plan is he's going to release the Westerosi Windblown that have been in custody and that had pretended to defect to Dany.
Right.
And then he's going to pay this price of Pentos to the Tattered Prince if they will work to free the hostages. Now that part is openly stated. It's and then we expect you to be on our side for the battle that is not necessarily stated, but you would assume implied.
I would state it.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Free the hostages and join us, please.
Yeah.
I will say, he may not believe in himself as the person who should be running the kingdom and making these deals and sacrificing his honor for the right thing, the best outcome. But he's quite the sleuth. How did he figure out that the Tattered Prince was going to ask for Pentos? It was like guessing what the extra ingredient on my kimchi sandwich was going to be.
Peanut butter. Barristan, you are a wizard. Okay, so there is a reason behind it.
Go on, man.
And it was your question there that I went looking for it last night. So when Dany had Maris released as an overture to the Tattered Prince, this happened early in the chapter when she went to the fighting pits, and then flew away on Drogon. Early in that chapter, which is probably why you don't remember the detail. I had an inkling, but I had to go look it up to get my facts straight. Right. So she told Barristan, release Maris as a overture to the Tattered Prince.
Right.
Maris told Barristan that the Tattered Prince had always planned to switch sides to Daenerys.
Right.
That was secretly why this group of Westerosi were sent to Dany. It's just that the Dornishmen outed them before Maris could reveal what the ultimate plan was. And that to come to Dany's side, the Tattered Prince wants Pentos. And Dany, when Barristan conveys all this to Dany, she basically says, pass on that. I won't give him Illyrio's city.
That's right. That is right. Wow. Good backtracking on that. Because I thought it was just like, that's the most out of the blue guess I've ever heard.
He's from Pentos. I bet he wants Pentos.
Right, yeah.
But Barristan and Quentyn were both willing to agree to this Pentos plan with no explanation of how. And I just wonder, is the Tattered Prince fully in touch with reality? Why not ask for what's your plan? How are you going to provide me Pentos? Right. Show me a detailed plan of how I'm going to end up with Pentos.
Well, I will say the Quentyn one at least had the advantage of Quentyn riding a dragon. Ride a dragon over Pentos for a couple of laps and then say, this guy's in charge. Be like, okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But Barristan Selmy saying it, I'm not so sure.
Right.
So the Green Grace, she's pretty hard to read, right? She obviously has a lot of loyalty to the Meereenese nobility and blood, but she is she's wise and kind of refined and sort of like gained Daenerys' trust to a certain extent. This all made me decide that she was the Harpy today.
Yeah, I saw your note and I thought, that's not a terrible idea. When she arrives, Barristan thinks that to himself, and then says it out loud, that the Green Grace has been a faithful friend to Dany. And I thought, is that true?
Right.
She strongly recommended and pushed hard for Hisdar to be her husband. Mm-hmm. And then he's accused, at least, of trying to poison Dany. Did the Green Grace know about that plan? Is that why she pushed so hard for him? Hisdar stops the Sons of the Harpy murders. Was the Green Grace aware that he is the Harpy? Is she playing some role like you just said? Could she be the Harpy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's got me thinking just recently.
Now, she says she wants the dragons dead. She thinks they're monsters, just as the Yunkai want them dead. Now, we obviously understand the Yunkai's motivation. They don't want them. They don't want these dragons being on the Meereenese
siege
side.
is going one way, but there are 3 wild cards in this battle.
And she speaks of the terrible history with the dragons. What she's talking about is Old Gis and Valyria. They fought 5 brutal wars, and Old Gis lost all 5. So they're not the biggest fans of dragons in general.
Yeah.
That's what she's referring to there. And she thinks that Dany is dead. So, and it's hard to fully blame her, because even Barristan is finding hard to keep the faith that she's alive.
Yeah, it is funny that sort of sense of, like, I saw it with my own eyes, but so many people have contradicted me that I'm beginning to doubt my own eyes now.
Yeah. It's eyewitness accounts are something. I've told you about when Stacey and I witnessed that car accident. She and I were positive one of the cars rolled, and another guy on the scene said, "Nope, never happened. No car rolled." And he was so dead set against it that we were like, "Okay." He says, but both of us were like, "No, that car rolled." Anyway, so you do start to doubt yourself. He didn't seem to be doubting himself, but we started to doubt what we thought we saw.
Yeah. I often wonder about the intellectual prowess of those who don't have self-doubts.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Suggests a sort of like a lack of internal monologue.
Well, thankfully, I must be really smart because I'm riddled with self-doubt.
That's by implication. That's what I'm saying. All right, so we've identified the Harpy. Well done. Let's, I mean, it's just a thought that occurred to me. I have no idea.
Hey, it could be.
I think that's
I wouldn't be surprised if the Harpy was not Hisdar. I'll say that someone else is making it seem like it's Hisdar.
Yeah, it feels too on the nose for it to be Hisdar, you know, like someone is pulling the strings while Hisdar is incarcerated, you know. I mean, they maybe just be like, the Harpy is in jail, we need to go back to killing, but I'm with you. I think it would just be too obvious if it was Hisdar. I think it's going to be someone else.
Yes. And the very last sentence of this, you know, I like last sentences of chapters.
I know you do.
Is
the Mackelly maxim.
The Green Grace saying it's not rocks being fired from the trebuchets. It's corpses. That was the Green Grace, not Skahaz.
I know.
How did she know that? Now, she did just meet with the Yunkai. They could have said, when we start this war, we're going to be firing bodies, not rocks. But
feels like a bit too much information. But obviously, that's literally what happened.
Yes.
Because otherwise, she couldn't possibly know.
Maybe she was facing out and Barristan was facing in, and she was like, no, literally, I see a body.
Those are funny shaped rocks coming down. All right, good enough. Time for some spoilers. Remember, if you join us at the upper tiers of the Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer levels, you can get the spoiler episodes, and they're always fascinating. All right, beautiful spoilers. How about some background? You got way more background than I was expecting for this chapter.
Well, yeah, so it's all about, it's basically one story that I wanted to tell. So Barristan dislikes being the Queen's hand. Too much deception and espionage. He prefers the direct parameters around the role of protection. And he thinks about how a few other Kingsguard also served as Hand of the King, and he wonders if they felt as lost and confused as he currently does. Well, I'm not positive that I've got an exhaustive mental list here of Kingsguard who served as Hand of the King, but I know of 3 of them. In a previous background, we talked about Sir Ryam Redwine, one of the finest knights of the realm, but a terrible Hand of the King. There's another that would be kind of a major spoiler to House of the Dragon fans, so I'm going to skip that guy.
Okay.
So today, we're going to focus on Sir Marston Waters. Now, if you pay too close attention to what I'm about to say, this could also be a spoiler for House of the Dragon.
Okay.
So
now, given that I've watched House of the Dragon, I'm going to pay a lot of attention, and I'm not going to spot it, am I?
I don't know. I think you might, but maybe not. All right. So Sir Marston Waters was Lord Commander of the Kingsguard during the reign of King Aegon III. Much like Barristan, he was suddenly thrust into the role of Hand of the King during a time of chaos. During the Lyseni Spring, Hand of the King Thaddeus Rowan was accused of plotting against King Aegon III and arrested and tortured. As the king was not yet of an age to rule, his regents named Sir Marston as Hand. And one of Marston's first acts was to arrest the wife of... It's just, hey, for your first day on the job, why don't you go arrest the wife of Prince Viserys, the king's own brother, Laura Rogar, as she was also suspected of treason. Nothing like first day being thrown right into it on your first day. That order led to what's called the Secret Siege. When men came to seize Laura inside Maegor's Holdfast, King Aegon and Prince Viserys refused to give her up. The king sealed himself, Viserys, Laura, and some others inside the Holdfast, and for 18 days the king was effectively under siege within his own castle. Marston, of course, found himself in a bit of a conflicted situation here. As Hand, he was tied to the regent's rule, but as Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, he couldn't order an attack on the king he had sworn to protect. So, instead, he tried, and failed, to negotiate an end to the standoff. The turning point came when the tortured ex-Hand of the King, Rowan, was brought forward to confess. The king and his brother saw that the confession was false and ordered Marston to arrest those responsible. Marston obeyed and uncovered a conspiracy. He tried to arrest his own Kingsguard brother, Sir Mervyn Flowers. However, Mervyn stabbed him, and Marston died. He was hand of the king for less than a month. So yes, Barristan, other Kingsguard thrust into the hand role did have some issues as well, and just like you, Sir Marston's brief time as hand was also defined by divided loyalties, political manipulation, and questioning his every decision. And I might say, Barristan, you are doing a decent job thus far, comparatively.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, positively nimble compared to how I thought he would be.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Excellent. Thank you for the background.
Certainly.
On the Simon spotted it-ometer, very much on the low end.
Okay.
Barely anything, honestly.
All right, good. Hopefully everybody else is in the same boat. I didn't ruin anything.
Well, unless they wanted to find it, in which case I hope they found it.
Yes.
Comparison with the television show, this obviously doesn't happen, but I dug a little deeper and concluded that broadly there were some parallels. Barristan Selmy's role here is given over to Tyrion, who's honestly better suited to it anyway.
Yeah.
There isn't really an ongoing siege from Yunkai. Instead, the Volantines and the Astaporis, are funding the Sons of the Harpy. Tyrion negotiates with nobility from the other cities, from Yunkai, Volantis, and Astapor, and negotiates with them to phase out slavery over 7 years. They don't exactly agree to it. And in fact, seeing how well Meereen is running with the freed slaves in charge brings them to attack Meereen after the Sons of the Harpy burn the local fleet. So the situation that's about to unfold here, it seems, where the Meereenese take on the Yunkai, is probably that same thing in the TV show when Tyrion tries and fails to convince the other cities to phase out slavery.
Yeah, that makes sense. Good.
Pedantry, I didn't find anything. Did you get anything this week?
No, nothing that I can think of.
Yeah. Apart from Skahaz should just think about what he says to Barristan.
Yeah. Filter Skahaz.
So news and notes. I think we can commit to this, Mackelly. Just say it.
All right. So
say it like we thought this through.
Right. Not just spur of the moment decision.
Exactly.
Well, so the final countdown is on. 2 more dance episodes after this. And I was going to say we plan to do something to celebrate. But as Simon just made the call, what we're going to do is awesome. A live discussion on Discord. We've done one before. It went pretty well, I felt like. So, I think it'll be fun. I think it'd be a good way to end the 5 books.
It's gone well. I've enjoyed that previously. We should
so if you want to be part of that, then go out and jump on Discord now so that you're ready when the time comes. And we will announce, probably spur of the moment, when the time will be.
Sooner rather than later, though. I mean, soon after the last episode drops, I would assume.
I would too, yes.
Yeah, okay, good. That's good. And also, as we've mentioned several times the last few weeks, we've got the Ghosts of Harrenhal merchandise store open for business as we celebrate finishing the 5 books. Check it out at ghostsofharrenhal.threadless.com. All right, let's conclude this one. Barristan is taking on the mantle of leadership that he doesn't want. He's a cooler head, and he is more representative of Daenerys. That's one thing I wanted to say about him, actually. He thinks, what would Daenerys want?
Yes.
For example, with regards to the 100 children. She would not want to kill them, and so Barristan will not kill them.
Yep.
He wouldn't anyway, because he has his own moral compass, but he definitely tries to be what Daenerys would be.
Agreed. Yeah, and like we said in background, he's doing a better job than he thinks he's doing.
Yeah.
And there's no better option available, except for possibly Missandei. I think she might be the best option, but I don't know that anybody's thought to tap her yet.
I think she may lack a little bit of the ruthlessness that's actually required.
That is true. Yeah.
You do need a little bit of the mean with the kind.
You certainly can't trust any of the Myronese. They all seem to have their own agenda anyway. So
right, yeah.
There's not a lot of options.
And kind of lost in the wash, but we mourn the loss of Quentyn Martell. But I have a little secret hope that Drink and Arch become the Duncan egg of the remaining books.
There you go. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, maybe that's what the Quentyn story was about, to give us...
Yeah, just setting them up for...
Yeah, yeah.
So Drink's the good-looking one, right? And Arch is the big fella. Yeah.
Yes.
I like it. I think it could work.
Yeah, and it turned out that Barristan was impressed by Arch and not so much by Drink. Yeah. So, and I was too. I can totally understand. Yeah. He was
Daenerys
rational
was
and
impressed
calm.
by Drink, as I recall.
yes, she was.
I believe she called him a tall drink.
But we both worry about the Green Grace's motivations and loyalties.
Yes, we do. But if this is war, well, that does suit Barristan. He can stop this thinking and plotting and just get down to what he knows how to do.
Yes. He's almost relieved at the end of the chapter when he hears the news that the Yunkai are firing, well, at the time he thinks rocks. He probably less relieved when he learns that their body's being flung in. But
yeah, well, I mean, it's even more pointed, I think, you know.
Yeah.
We definitely want war. We're not just throwing you some rocks. We definitely want war.
Yeah. In case this was unclear.
Yeah.
But he didn't have to break the Queen's peace. That was one of his concerns. He didn't want to be the one that broke the peace that she had initiated. Yeah. And now he doesn't have to. In war, this battle is very much in his wheelhouse, much more than the espionage and all that kind of stuff and the deals. And Jorah and Tyrion believe that the Yunkai are destined to lose. We learn in the last Tyrion chapter. Yep. So, but does this mean the end of the hostages? Do Drink and Arch and a Tattered Prince have time to execute a rescue plan now that the Yunkai are beginning the war? Are they just
not if that was them flying over the walls? They
don't. That's for sure. Unless they've got big blankets or trampolines or something on the other side of the wall. You're right.
Or Viserion just grabs him and gently holds him in his teeth and floats him.
There you go. That's how it'll go.
Up next, and for those who really don't want spoilers, cover your ears for the next 5 seconds, okay? Next week we have a Daenerys chapter.
She's alive!
Khaleesi! Can it be true?
For the last named chapter
in
A Dance
named
with
chapter.
Dragons. Yes.
Quite something. All right. We're looking forward to that one. All right, there's currently 4 ways you can help us. You can leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review. You can buy us a cup of Arbor Gold or become a sustainer at buymeacoffee.com/ghostsharrenhal. There's a tier to match your budget and interest. The upper tiers get you the spoiler chat. You can buy some merchandise from our store at ghostsofharrenhal.threadless.com, or you can make a donation directly to our cause through our website, ghostsofharrenhal.buzzsprout.com.
And if you're looking for more ways to interact with us, well, you could always send us a text. The link is at the top of every episode show notes. Just please keep in mind we don't have a means of responding, but we do enjoy reading them very much. And if you're interested in keeping up on the latest Ghost of Harrenhal news and developments, well, you could check us out on our social media. You can follow us on Twitter at Ghost Harrenhal. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and YouTube.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.